What is up? It's another episode of Roughing the Passer. I'm John. I'm in my usual spot, and the DH is not in his usual spot.
No. What's going on, man?
He's in the state where Trevor Lawrence is going to be playing football next year.
Apparently, since the Jets, great job by the Jets. Okay, all right. Yeah, he's the Jets, man. They can't even lose the right way. It's impressive.
I think Adam Gase is doing it on purpose.
I do too.
I think he knows he ain't going to be there. He's like, screw this. I'm not getting him the number one pick. Let's actually start game planning and trying to win these things. And
exactly.
We see what's happening. Exactly. Crazy. Well, it's crunch time. Things are getting a little bit clearer as divisions get locked up and wrapped up. And there are some scenarios. Teams have to win. Certain teams have to lose.
Thing around to go. A lot of it being, playoff seeding, which is important as there's a game on right now. Look at this in Green Bay. If Green Bay gets a good seed and they're playing in the snow, look what they can do in the snow. I mean, this stuff's important. These 2 versus 4 seeds are important.
Yeah, and I think this game we're talking about right here, Green Bay and Tennessee, I think the NFL MVP is in this game. To me, it's either got to be Aaron Rodgers or Derrick Henry. And with no disrespect to Josh Allen, who's got a shot. But, Aaron Rodgers before – Aaron Rodgers, 40 touchdowns, 4 picks. I mean, that's insane.
I know.
And it's a team that goes in and drafts moves up and drafts a quarterback. I guess they got to do that next year too, because if they want that kind of production.
You noticed what it did, right? You noticed what it did.
It lit a fire on them.
It automatically lit a massive fire under Aaron Rodgers, and sometimes that's what he needs. Aaron Rodgers is a dick. I mean, he's a diva. He's hard to get along with. He's a prima donna. I've had multiple interactions with him. He's an asshole. And, I mean, he demands certain things. You've got to sacrifice a lot within an organization to have him as your quarterback. And I think the Packers with this rookie head coach thought, hey, you know what? I'm going to ruffle some feathers a little bit because he felt he built a strong enough bond with him. And it worked because I think Jordan Love, is what my comment that I made this week on social media that went a little crazy about Dwayne Haskins and about how he'll never be an actual starter in the NFL ever again. And please, if you saw that comment and would like to debate me on that, I would love to discuss it. A good game today. But I don't know. I kind of saw it coming. I think Jordan Love's one of those guys that needs a couple of years, and I think when he has those couple of years, he's going to be quite impressive.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't. If you're setting the bar at Dwayne Haskins, he better be better than that. That guy. And I've said this on my own podcast. Apparently, I whiffed on Haskins because I have to admit it. I can't put the genie back in the bottle. I said Haskins was the best quarterback in this draft, and
when I said that comment about him not being a bona fide starter or honestly possibly even a backup, what I even said in the full statement that I put out there was that I'm talking about with everything that happened, with the situation he got put in. He was put in a situation where he was never going to succeed. Ron Rivera's system was never built for him. Ron Rivera was never going to build a system around him. He was in a no-win situation, and he is not – I mean, Daniel Jones was drafted before him because he was thought to be more mobile. Like, Dwayne Haskins is not this this guy you think of as a running quarterback. He's an old school, sit in the pocket type of quarterback. And that's a guy that needs years to develop. And they never gave him that chance. He was thrust into some bullshit in Washington Football Club, WFC. Sounds like AEW's new competition or some shit. But, you know, I don't know. Guys, please call in and join the show. By the way, John, will post a link to do that in the chat. I'll also do it here in just a moment. But please call in and join the show. Let us know what you think. If do you think Dwayne Haskins? I mean, he got to play today. My Panthers defense showed him that we're not exactly something to be rolled over. But you know, let us know what you think. If any of the other games that you watch today, if there's anything you'd like to say, talk about, or discuss, please hit us up. Call in. We'd love to chat with you, as we're already at week 16. I mean, John, it's getting to the point now where we'll go to our game balls and goat segments, I guess, real quick. Well, first, I guess we need to run down the scores. Let's run down the scores real quick.
All right, let me get them up here. I'm manning the boards today, so let's see.
You're good, man. I'm in a hotel making sure if you send cards out and you want PSA to grade them, I'm making sure it happens faster. So
here we go. We got them up.
Yep.
Yeah, there we go. All right. So all right. So we got this game going on right now. We got a snowy game. Packers 19, Titans 7. We have the Chiefs in a close game with the Falcons by 3 over them, low scoring. Hopefully, if all you bettors out there, hopefully you took the under. Although I got a feeling some took the over. With that game, you probably lost. The Jets beat the Browns, and it looks like they lost the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes. So, and the Browns, I don't know. You know, the Browns apparently, I figured they were watching the Steelers scoreboard and thought they still had a shot at the AFC North title. Would kick it into gear.
I just fucking love it. For like a month and a half, I've been sitting here watching. Browns are finally making it. Browns are yada, yada, yada. It's over, blah, blah, blah. They're going here. They're going there. They let the fucking Jets of all teams come in. And, I mean, they controlled their own destiny, and they had the New York Jets on their schedule. We talked about this last week, about teams that had the easiest road there. If you can't get up for that game, come on. And, I mean, apparently the Jets have just given up on trying to get Trevor Lawrence, or they're just going to trade the rest of their team. But I don't think anyone in the NFL wants anyone on the Jets. But, I mean, they've just given up on trying to get him. So now they're just trying to spoil everybody's fun. I love it.
We might have to talk about the Jets being the best team in football right now, winners of great. But all right,
definitely making it interesting.
Yeah, going on my team. I'm going to be honest with you. This game was 24-7 Colts. Yeah, I had some things on my list to do. I was frustrated. And so I do something I rarely do. I left during the Steeler game to do what I had to do. But it was either that or throw something and crush my TV. So I'm actually going to take credit for this W because apparently when I left, they decided to play better. So maybe I can't watch any games. But they come back.
I couldn't watch the Panthers today, and it worked. And maybe that is truly the answer. Maybe we shouldn't just watch our own team.
Yeah. 28-24, they come back. Still got problems. We can talk about that after the scoreboard.
Great football game, by the way. Amazingly fun football game to watch. I know you as a fan, you're stressed out, but if you're just a football fan with no real interest in everything, what a football game it was. Entertaining as all hell.
Yep. Speaking of entertaining, how about the Bears offense lately? Number one in the NFL the last few weeks. They played the Jaguars. I mean, take it for what it is, but they destroyed them 41-17. Yeah. Yep.
What's up, Mr. Gable?
Yeah. And then we got the Ravens taking care of business against the Giants.
Yeah.
We got
Yeah.
the Bengals in a high scoring game, 37-31 over the wilting Houston Texans.
Jesus.
We have a new rookie touchdown passer record holder. The Chargers
Woo!
beat the Broncos by 3, and Justin Herbert sets the record, passing Baker Mayfield. We have your Panthers really
Yep.
holding off their former head coach in Washington, who, believe it or not, still can win that division even with today's loss. With a win next week against the Eagles, who look pathetic. Speaking of the Eagles and looking pathetic,
Yeah.
they were lapped by the Cowboys,
Yeah,
37-7.
Andy Dalton looked great though, man. Andy Dalton took some Andy Dalton was playing like 5 years ago when he was full ginger, not like ginger and a little gray. He was full on ginger today.
He was
Like
he was Red Rock. He was Red Rocking
on.
it today.
Yes. And
The
we admit CeeDee Lamb is incredible.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, Michael Gallup had a big game too, and you got Seattle and the Rams. This was for the NFC West crown.
Yeah. Big game.
Seattle took it.
Big game. Shocker. Rams didn't show up for a big game.
Yeah. We'll have to talk. We'll have to talk about that. On Christmas Day, we had a couple games. The Saints, 52. Vikings 33. So much for Mike Zimmer and being a defensive guru. Yeah. And also on Christmas, the Buccaneers and the Lions, who were coached by a local Pop Warner organization because their whole staff basically had to be in COVID protocol. Pop Warner and the NFL, 2 different leagues. The Buccaneers rolled the Lions 47-7. Probably the safest bet. Should have went and put some money on that, just with all the stuff going on there. And then also this week, the Raiders snatching defeat out of victory, losing to the Dolphins 26-25 on a throw, basically a throw up, and then
winning me a parlay. Thank God.
Yeah, and the 49ers crushing the Cardinals playoff hopes. 20-12, and so there's your rundown of the score. Get back to
the summary of this season, man. Honestly, like no joke. Like if you wanted to summarize, like if you summed this regular season, 16 weeks, into like one small, tiny little phrase, like it would just be like, what a fucking joke. Like, I mean, some of these teams, man, Arizona, you get a chance with a 49ers team that I know they won't go away, but Kyler Murray, dude, you got to take that step, bro. Like, you got to come into it. Teams like Jacksonville, I think, wanted to lose this game, and Chicago, they found a running game, which is scary. Chicago could be a scary team. You give Mitch Trubisky a running game. Mitch Trubisky might be a decent game manager. It'll be interesting. Just running and looking down the scoreboard, just taking a look at a few of the games. The Eagles, I think, really were just caught by a divisional game where one of their quarterbacks looked like fucking the quarterback of 10 years ago. You know, it just happens sometimes. There's nothing you can do about it. But I want to talk about one thing, John, and then we can go into game balls and goats and everything. I want to start off with this real quick, and guys, please feel free to call in if you'd like to join the show. If you'd like to talk about Haskins' question or statement that I made earlier this week, anything at all, please call in and join the show. But the Bengals beating the Texans 37-31. Okay. The Bengals at 4-10-1. Houston Texans at 4-11. Bengals trotted out Brandon Allen and Alex Erickson, like the dynamic duo, up against Deshaun Watson and a Houston team that has David Johnson, Brandon Cooks, Kiki Coutier. Like so many very, very good players are not that banged up, especially all things considered, and yet really they they blow this game against Cincinnati. What's going on? And is Deshaun Watson even worth all this? I mean, Deshaun Watson just got paid. Is he one of those guys that got paid and then quit? Like, what's going on?
I mean, you look at his stat line today, if you looked at the box score and didn't know the score, you just looked at Houston's stats, you'd think they won this game. I think there are problems on the defensive end. And I don't know if you saw, I actually posted it on my personal Facebook page. I don't know if you saw J.J. Watt's post-game interview, but he basically, without mentioning names, he just threw certain people under the bus. And I agree with what he said. He basically said, listen, we suck, but we are paid professionals. If you don't want to play, if you don't want to try to win, you don't belong here. I see people tweet me, fans are still wishing me good luck and go get them. And those people are buying our jerseys and still behind us. And, some of us are mailing it in basically. And so that was, I think, a shot across the bow. It may be time, I know he can't put full seasons together. It may be time to get J.J. Watt out of there, not because he's terrible, but because the work ethic is not matching his. And I'm sure others on that team might say, he shouldn't talk. He can't put full seasons together. But all he's really saying is, like, if you don't want to play hard, get out of here. And I think that really was telling. When I saw that, I just said, there's some guys that have quit in that locker room, and that's who he's talking about. And we might be able to tell who they are by who's not there next year. Watson, he's playing well, and their problems are on defense, man. You lose 37-31, and they're losing a lot of high school.
It's not all on Watson. I'm not saying it's all on Watson, but and this game might not be the best microcosm to point out, all of Watson's failures necessarily. But my point is if you're in fine, your defense is giving up points to the Bengals. It's the damn Bengals. Their defense ain't that great. You put up 31. You could have put up a little more. Deshaun Watson actually had a good stat line and played a decent game today. But he always has a decent stat line and puts up a good game. But it never seems to translate to postseason success, winning. And I don't know if that's coaching. I don't know what it comes down to. I don't know what it is. We can move on now. I just wanted to get your opinion, and guys call in if you have one as well. But I just don't know about Deshaun Watson anymore. And that's a guy that you mentioned earlier about people you were really sure about. Deshaun Watson's someone that I thought, like, okay, this is a guy that's Houston eventually is going to get it together. I'm not so sure right now because I don't know if by the time they put a team around him, A, I don't know if he's there. And B, I just don't know if they can do it before he's not that good of a football player anymore. I think the window's gone.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't disagree with anything you said, and he's not going to re-sign there. You know what I mean? At this rate,
right?
And so I've even heard scenarios where he winds up. You're talking about Wentz in New England. I've heard some scenarios. I'm not saying I believe them, but I've heard scenarios where Deshaun Watson is the next New England Patriots quarterback. So I don't know.
Quarterback is I just got a question. Is every single quarterback in free agency the next New England quarterback? Is Bill Belichick going to just trot out? Is he going to be the first guy? Is he going to try and petition the NFL to have 13 quarterbacks on the roster? Sign up every fucking guy who's ever thrown a ball against Tom Brady and figure out which one can do better than him for 1 year. Every quarterback, it seems, is the next New England quarterback.
Yeah, well, that's because they need one, and the looks like the Cam Newton.
Does Bill Belichick seem like he's gonna get one?
Yeah, I don't know, man. That bloom is off the rose there. I mean, I'm not even saying it's it was Tom Brady alone, but I think age and all good things must come to an end, and I think
Yeah.
New England, who dominated that division for 15, 20 years. I think the league's finally kind of caught up to how to beat them, how to win your games as well, and
Hmm.
it looks like it's going to be Buffalo, Miami in that division for the next few years. So, we'll see.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I agree.
All right, so you want to go game balls and goats?
Sure, but let's drop into it real quick because I want to dive into. And guys, please call in if you have any questions. If you'd like to talk about, hey, a light went out. If you'd like to talk about any of your games today, if you've got any questions regarding the playoffs, the postseason, anything coming up, please hit us up. We'd love to talk to you guys and chat with you on the line. You don't have to come on video. You can just call in. It's very easy. But just give us a call if you'd like. But yeah, man, let's dive into it. And guys, call in and give us your game ball or goat. But John, go on and give me your game ball and and then I'll give you mine.
All right, I'll make it quick. We talked about some of these guys. Andy Dalton going back up in the DeLorean and recapturing some of those early glory days in Cincinnati today. Got to hand it to him. Dallas is still in the mix. They're not eliminated, and they can
No,
get in with some help next year. And so,
didn't
credit
that
to Andy
cute?
Dalton, getting it done. Hey, David
Yeah.
Johnson, I know they didn't win. David Johnson looked, talking about guys looking like their former selves. David Johnson in Houston in a losing effort, but 128 yards, 2 touchdowns,
Yeah.
and looking, we not doing that enough to warrant, probably what he gets paid, but going back in time and looking like that early DJ. And then, I'm going to go with what I know CeeDee Lamb is probably the best prospect wide receiver on the Cowboys, but I'm going Michael Gallup today. I know he's been quiet most of the year, but 6 catches, 112 yards, 2 touchdowns. And he's a guy I like. They're just so loaded at receiver. It's hard for him to stand out. So those are my 3, 2 being the Cowboys, which – did hurt me to say, but I have to be honest. They
So which one?
came to
Sorry,
play.
you broke up for a second. All 3 names, real quick. All 3 names.
I'm going Gallup, Dalton, and then David Johnson in Houston.
Okay, all right. I completely agree with all of those. And I'm impressed with Dallas, man. They've done great, all things considered. There was a lot of problems. They've done a great job. I can't disagree with any of those. So I will. I'll just go with you and say 100% I agree with you. So now on to my game balls for the week. First game ball has got. I mean, the dude is just. I don't know how much I like him, how much he drives me crazy, but Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel is the guy who gets one of my game balls today for the Panthers because he can just do everything. 7 catches, 52 yards, no touchdowns there, but that's rushing. 7 carries for 52 yards. Also 5 catches for 106 yards. So he almost averaged 200 points. Didn't get it in the end zone for the Panthers, but he's a do-it-all guy for us. But he can't seem to get over that proverbial hump, that last little inch that it takes to truly be that guy. And maybe it's the quarterback. I don't know. Maybe he just needs that 3rd year, which will come next year. I don't know what it is, but Curtis Samuel definitely gets my first game ball and an awesome game on Panthers, and I don't get the chance to give him a game ball often, so I'm definitely going to give him one. Second game ball, I've got to give it to Big Ben, and I'll tell you why I got to give it to Big Ben. 34 of 49, 342 yards, 3 touchdowns. Lead an incredible comeback against a very good football team, a team that's 10-5. Obviously, it was 10-4 coming into this game, and a team that really had all the momentum on their side. Pittsburgh had none whatsoever. And Big Ben found himself down in a deep hole. I mean, 21-7, 24-14. I mean, this was late in the third. This was a tough time. And coming back in this game, what you hadn't seen from Big Ben all year was the deep ball. What you hadn't seen from Big Ben were confident deep throws that were on target. And you saw those today. You saw Big Ben. You saw the Big Ben of old today. And if this is a sign of them getting back on track, maybe this comeback is what they needed to truly get the momentum back and get in the locker room and say, guys, wake the fuck up. We can do this. Look, there's a reason we were undefeated for however many, 11, 12, 50,000 weeks, whatever it was. And so he gets my other game ball. And my third game ball actually isn't going to go out to a football player at all, but I just want to give I am a wrestling fan, and Jude watches wrestling a lot, so my third game ball comes out to John Huber. People know him as Brody Lee or Luke Harper, who tragically passed away at the age of 41 last night. So he gets my third game ball today because he was a one-of-a-kind person and a truly amazing human being in and outside the ring, and I had the pleasure of meeting him and interviewing him a couple of times, and he was an incredible person. So he'll get my third game ball for the day. But so those are my game balls for the day. Just a couple of guys that really impressed me, but I want to see him take that next step.
No, I won't argue there. I mean, there were a lot of impressive performances today that, Mitch Trubisky played well. You don't get to say that often, so anytime you can, you want to throw in there. He may be auditioning for his next job. That's the one thing. Yeah, I mean, next year you're going to see just a bunch of different quarterbacks wearing different uniforms. It's going to be a carousel, and so some guys are really playing for that next contract. I mean, Andy Dalton might be doing that too. Andy Dalton might still be a starter somewhere. Probably not in Dallas, but he may be auditioning somewhere else. So we're seeing these guys sort of put their best foot forwards to try to get that next job. You want to go goats?
Yeah, we'll go with some goats.
You want to go? You want me to go?
Oh, I'll go first. I got a couple of
go ahead.
First up, Kyler Murray. Bruh, come on now. Like, you can't do this. Like, you got to get over the hump. This was your time. This was your entire moment. You had it all set up. You were. I don't get it. I don't get it. Maybe it's just the Cardinals, but I don't get it. And so, Kyler Murray, terrible game today. 31 of 50, 247 yards and an interception. Awful game from him. So, Kyler Murray is going to get my first GOAT. And my second GOAT of the week is going to go to the entire Cleveland Browns organization. Come on, guys. Once again, like, you have a chance to do something that your franchise hasn't done in a long time. You can't get up for these games, but you're telling me that a fucking team that most college teams can beat can? I mean, come on. And my third GOAT of the week is, if I got to give one out, it's going to go to another team who just can't seem to do anything right, and that's Jared Goff. Jared Goff actually broke his thumb today. Poor Jared. I hope it gets better. But, I mean, the dude played awful. You could see, if you watch that game, go back and watch in the first half and watch the body language between the coach and him, watch the conversations, watch the tone of the coach talking to him. I mean, Jared Goff spent the whole first half and most of the second getting reamed out by his coach because of how shitty he was playing. So if the coach can ream him out, then I can give him a little bit of shit. So, GOAT, Jared Goff. Blah.
Well, it's funny. We have very similar GOAT lists. The three names I wrote down are Jared Goff, Baker
Yeah.
Mayfield, and Nick Chubb. So if you want to
Yes.
say the Browns,
Yes.
I had Baker and Nick Chubb individually, and Jared
Right.
Goff. So, Baker Mayfield just like they're winning sort of in spite of him. He's playing good. He's not playing great.
Yeah.
Today was poor, about 50%
Yeah.
completion rate, and you didn't get it done versus the Jets. I mean, that thing's set up for you on a silver platter, and you can't get it done. You make the GOAT list.
Yeah.
And Nick Chubb, 10 carries, something like 25 yards. Like, the Jets defense is good, not great. He made them look great with 2.5 yards a carry. And you got, and Nick Chubb's still a good running back, very good running back. But you got to show up. You got to show up.
Especially when I pick you in FanDuel.
Today.
Especially when I pick you in FanDuel. Like, you got to show up. Like, what the fuck, dude?
So, I mean, I'm glad they lost as a Steeler fan, but like you look at that game before the game's played, and you're like, Browns should win easily. And yet here they are. Not only losing, but some of their key players just not performing well. And so that's how you get on the GOAT list, and they're on it. So
yeah. Absolutely. Well, guys, please call in and let us know who gets your game ball or GOAT, or let us know in the comments, of course, or call in and ask us anything about any of the games, or let us know how you feel about some of the games, because there's a lot going on today. I mean, outside of the Patriots, not the Patriots, the Buccaneers. Sorry, but the Bucs making it back to the playoffs again. The Saints, really struggling. I mean, there's going to be some really good teams left out and some really shitty teams thrown in. And I mean, it happens every year, but the NFL tried to change it by adding a seventh wild card, but they did nothing by not adapting to the divisions, because they still haven't figured out that when half of your schedule is almost over a third of your schedule is against your division, that's going to have the most impact. Like, I don't know why the NFL can't figure that out, but maybe one day in like the 80-some fucking years they will. But I mean, there's going to be some good teams left out right now, man.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, if you lose this part of the year, you may be one of those good teams that don't get in. Arizona's lost to San Fran.
Done.
Is gonna hurt them. Today, the Colts losing to Pittsburgh. If the season ended today, Indianapolis does not get in because of that loss. So you got to win these crunch time games. And, Indianapolis 10-6 would not be in the playoffs today. Arizona's got a winning record, would not be in the playoffs today.
Now, the biggest winner would probably be Baltimore, because them winning against the Giants with the Browns losing to the Jets throws them into that sixth spot. So they've got the Bengals now without Joe Burrow. If they win that game, they're in, which at the beginning of today, the thought was insurmountable that they'd make the playoffs. We assumed, we talked about it on last week's show, Baltimore probably wouldn't get in because we thought the Browns would have a cakewalk. And if they did, then it was over for them. They wouldn't be able to get the sixth seed. But with that win over the Giants, they get into it. But, just in the AFC alone, then you have the Browns at 7, but they've got to play your Steelers, who've got a lot to play for when it comes to seeding, when it comes to a lot of that stuff. So, and then you've got the Colts, who obviously are the only team that could possibly get their way in. So it's going to come down to the Browns or the Colts, it looks like. But who do you think gets in out of the Browns or the Colts? How do you think next week shakes out?
Yeah, I think again, I wish they didn't get in, but I think Baltimore's probably going to handle business. They look good today. Lamar Jackson, played well, very well, and they're only going as far as he goes. So when he plays well, they're a threat when he struggles. And he
Yeah.
struggled more this year than ever before. Like teams, people watch film. The defensive coordinators do their homework. It's not going to be a cakewalk just on athletic ability anymore. He's going to have to become a better passer to have a long, viable, Pro Bowl type career in the league. And can he do it? Yeah, I'm sure he can if he wants to put in the work, and so
Right.
we'll see. But he's playing well again, and I think they'll take care of business next week. In a divisional game with the Bengals. I know the Bengals won this week, but they're playing Houston, who they got all sorts of problems there. They're not a good team, and so I think Baltimore gets in. And unfortunately, I think today's loss for the Colts. I mean, fortunately for me being a Steeler fan, but if you're a Colts fan, I think today's loss really stings. Not even just in the fashion, the way you lost it, kind of being in control, but
think you knocked them out.
Yeah, but I think that it's now they're on the outside looking in, and the teams they need to lose, Drew, are playing lesser competition. Now, this year of all has shown us sometimes that don't mean nothing. We saw the Jets beat the Browns today. The Jets beat the Rams last week. We seen some upsets and some, we seen the Bengals beat my Steelers, last week as well.
Anything can drop 37. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen, but man, I wouldn't want to be the Colts or the Cardinals right now because you don't really, they always say in football, right? You want to control your own destiny. You don't want to rely on other people winning or losing to get in, and that's where those two particular teams are. And I don't, if you're asking me today, well, what they need to happen, I don't think so. And so I'm going to say those two teams, don't make it in.
Yeah, I agree with you. And, it's sad for Indy especially because in that team for 2 years, they've been the team that I've chosen as my sleeper pick as that team that's going to get over the hump, finally make it to the playoffs, make a good long run. And I don't see it happening. I hope they address long-term quarterback issues this year, but that kind of all is going to depend on what Rivers has to do. Like we said last week, gutsiest call ever, but it paid off huge. But this game today, definitely not on him, but this game today was just brutal for Colts fans. I feel for him, but I think it knocked him out of it. But, that's the AFC. So let's move over to the NFC real quick. And in the NFC, obviously, going down the list, you got the 1 seed, you got the Green Bay Packers. You got Green Bay, who no matter what, win or lose today, is going to still have the 1 seed. Then you've got the Saints at 11-4. Then you've got Seattle at 11-4. Then you've got the Washington Football Club. I won't call them football team. They're WSC. They are 6-9. However, they occupy the 4 seed at the moment. You've got Tampa locked into the playoff at least at 10-5. Then you've got the Rams still alive in the 6th seed at 9-6. And you've got the Bears locked in at the 7th seed, 8-7. However, you've got the Cardinals, Cowboys, and Giants all within striking distance. So, who ends up out of all the teams? I mean, basically, you've got 4 teams that are clinched, so there's 2 spots left. Who wins the NFC East, and who gets that other wild card? So, who do you think gets it in this league? Do you think the Rams and the Bears hold on to the 6 and 7 spot, or how do you think this all works out? Because there's 3 spots open technically.
I think Washington plays Philly. If they win, they win the division. Philly's eliminated, so Philly's not playing for anything. But they look terrible today against the
Jalen
Cowboys
Hurts is
team.
playing for a lot.
Yeah, I think Washington holds serve. They beat Philly. Washington gets in by default by winning the division. I think they'll be like 7. If they win, they'll be might be 8-8 if they win. So
Yeah.
or 7-9. What's their record right now?
Who, the Bears?
No, the Redskins.
The Redskins right now they're 6-9, so they'd get in at 7-9.
Yeah, they win against Philly. They'll be 7-9. I think the Rams probably they got to win, and I don't know. I'm gonna say the Rams are out with the Arizona. I think they're both of them. I think Seattle is the only team from that division that gets in, and so man, it's crazy, man. That this week kind of really changed the whole complexion.
Everything.
Yep, and now
3 games changed everything in the AFC and the NFC, all the way from the top seed to the bottom seed. It was remarkable.
Yeah, and it's a spot you don't want to be in as a team, right? Where you have to rely on somebody else failing for you to get in, and not how you want to be. But believe me, as a Steeler fan, I've been there over the years, where you have to rely on someone else losing. Right. I remember Ryan Suckup, missing a field goal that would have got us in, and he missed it. It's a bad spot to be in. There's the old cliche saying: if you have to rely on someone else winning or losing to get in, you probably don't deserve it anyway. Yeah. And so that's where some of these teams are. I think, even here's the other thing. You look at, Kansas City today hanging on against Atlanta. Yeah. There's I still think they're probably the prohibited favorite to win the Super Bowl, but I still think it's wide. I still think it's wide open. I mean, especially when you look on the NFC side. I know the Saints played well this week, but I'm still not completely sold. And I mean, Green Bay right now looks like maybe they might be the NFC Super Bowl representative. So this is the fun part. Is it really? It can be a number of teams. In most years, you can pick 2 to 3 teams on each side in each conference. I think you can go even further than that this year. With everything going on to who could make the Super Bowl, even in the AFC. I mean, Buffalo's looking really good right now too. So it could be a wide number of teams, and that's going to be the fun. A lot of times we watch the playoffs and we kind of know it's 1 or 2 teams.
Yeah, I agree with your NFC for the most part. I actually think next week the Eagles actually beat Washington. If the Eagles beat Washington, then the winner of the Giants and Cowboys would win the division.
And I think Dallas is going to win that game.
I think Dallas wins that game. So
can you imagine that?
Can you imagine that? That's what I'm saying. I have Dallas in the playoffs.
And so the minute Dak went down, everyone buried them, myself included.
Yes,
said they're done.
Oh, yes,
they're done, and yet they're one scenario away from being back in the playoffs. And
I think they come into the playoffs next week. I think they get that 4th seed. I think they easily beat the Giants. I think the Eagles, they're mathematically eliminated. Look, that's a division game against Washington. They are going to do not think the Eagles are going to lay that game down. No way, shape, or form. If they could spoil Washington and make Washington eliminated from the playoffs, are you kidding me? No. No. I've watched too many times where the Falcons or the Saints have a chance to eliminate us. They come out playing harder than they've ever played in their lives. I have no doubt that Philly comes out and plays hard as hell and beats Washington next week, even though Washington's improving. But you've also got the 6 and 7 spot. So I've got Dallas in at the 4. Obviously, the 5 is going to stay with Tampa, or they could get up to they could move up, but they're not going to move down. So with the Rams and the Bears currently there right now, I think one team stays, and that's Chicago. I think Chicago stays, but I think the Rams leave. I think the Rams are gone, honestly. They play the Cardinals, and I don't see it happening. I think they lose to the Cardinals next week because the Cardinals want to play spoiler, and I think that I think they're going down. And if they go down, that would put them at 9 and 7. That would put the Cardinals at 9 and 7. So that would put the Cardinals into the playoffs. So I've got the Cardinals taking the Rams' place in the playoffs with a win next week. And the funny part being, 2 weeks ago, entering this week, the Rams had a 96.2% chance to make the playoffs. Entering this week.
And regardless of how bad Goff played today, he's had a couple stinker games this year, quite frankly.
And he's a broken thumb.
Yeah, that's where I was going. He may not be able to play. And so who is the back? Is it Sean Mannion still there?
Blake Bortles is there.
Yeah, I mean, that's where you're going to pin your playoff lives on. Probably not where you want to be. I know Jared Goff. Many people don't like him either, but I guess you'd rather have your one with a chance to get in than on Sean Mannion or Blake Bortles' shoulders. And but that's where the Rams might be, and that's probably why they're probably going to be watching some playoff football rather than playing it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. So that's going to be my playoff, they'll call it now. Not the order, but Packers, Saints, Seahawks, Cowboys, somehow, Bucks, Cardinals, and Bears. That'll be my NFC. So I mean, I agree that anything can change, and it looks like we're actually turning into having a wonderful game as soon as we're over here, guys. Definitely check out the Sunday night game. It looks like we might have an entertaining ending to this game, especially if you like old school smash mouth football. But John, it's definitely been a big week. Unfortunately, obviously not being able to man the boards and everything, I do not have a shit whip of the week this week.
That's all right. That's all right.
We'll bring one. We'll go double next week. With a big 2021 episode as we end the year and we get ready for the playoffs and everything. But unfortunately, no shit whip this week.
Yeah, no, that's okay. And I didn't watch as much football as I usually do this Sunday. Kind of woke up not feeling great. Slept in a little late. Started watching the Steelers. That didn't make me feel much better early. And then I just said, you know what? I can't watch this no more. I'm going to just smash my TV. So I got a to-do list. Let me start chopping that off. And I went away from that game. They come back and win. I was shocked. I was actually out what store? I think I was at Home Depot. And I looked at my phone and saw the score. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to leave more often apparently, right. So, they still got problems talking about the Steelers, but, it's nice that they won the division. It's been a few years. It's kind of been Baltimore's division the last few years. And everyone picked Baltimore before the season. Everyone picked them. Colin Cowherd said they might go undefeated, talking about the Ravens. And so it's nice to win the division. But, as Steeler fans know, right, it's sort of Super Bowl or bust. And, we were in better shape when we were rolling 11-0 and winning games a little bit easier. But you know what? Yeah. You never know. I mean, what this year showed us is, any given Sunday, you never know what could happen. And
absolutely. Hey, Nick, it's not that, Nick. Just me being on the road, John's manning the board, so I don't have my normal capabilities to show the hits and stuff. So we will give that we'll nominate that as this week shit whip of the week. Everyone can go check it out themselves. But apparently Murray got shit whooped, so go check it out. According to Mr. Nicholas Gable. But yeah, wonderful week of football, man. I love it. It's been great. We got one more week, John. One more week, and then we get to the postseason. I'm super excited. I cannot wait. Postseason, there's nothing like playoff football. There really isn't. And so I'm really looking forward to finally getting started.
Yeah, we'll see how many, how much of what we said this week actually happens next week. We'll kind of, see how that goes. And let me see if I can find this hit.
While he does that, guys, while he does that, I want to let you guys know a couple of things. One, I know we didn't have our actual our video of our picks this week, but we will have video for New Year's. Because next week, the games are staggered a little bit. So John and I will make a special, might be a little bit longer video, but it'll have our picks, and because week 17 is when we wrap everything up, when we go through the playoffs. But we'll wrap up the regular season, and we'll take a look going towards the playoffs when we start to do the over-unders and everything like that. But definitely check out that video. And guys, if you aren't able to watch us on video or live, and you prefer listening to podcasts and not watching videos, we are on all major podcast platforms such as iTunes, such as Spotify, pretty much just about anywhere you can find us. So if you'd like to listen to the show in that form, you can listen to the show in that form as well. We greatly appreciate it. And so that way you can listen to it or check it out and watch the show live. And if you do watch it live, please call in and come chat with us. We're not mean. We're not scary. But it might be ugly, but we're not scary. But and we'd love to talk football with you. But John, were you able to find this hit? I wasn't able to find it.
Yeah, I'm finding it, but I'm trying to get through the those crazy ads they make you watch.
Well, I'll pretend. Well, back up. Still stalling, guys. This is Church of Hollywood here. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have some cool stuff for the playoffs. We might do some cool playoff stuff for you guys here. I know I have a really good idea for the Super Bowl here, but we're going to have to get it implemented before the playoffs start. So I'll be talking to John about it next week once I get it finalized, and be on the lookout for some pretty major announcements.
Let's see here. No, that ain't it.
Let's see if we got it. All right, now, see, I wasn't able to find it myself, but I will say this. I want to say one thing. One man right now who needs to get a game ball is A.J. Dillon. If you're not paying attention to A.J. Dillon, you need to after tonight. This kid, not only is he having an amazing game tonight, he's had an amazing game the last couple of weeks. Ever since they've been giving him a little bit more to do, he's taken that role and ran with it. They've got Aaron Jones, I know, but they're eventually going to have to pay him. Eventually, he's going to be too much. He's going to move on, or he's going to lose a step. A.J. Dillon, the Packers have their running back of the future. A.J. Dillon is a legit running back and needs to be looked at as one of those guys that's a legit complementary back to Aaron Jones right now.
All right. Did I find it?
I have no clue, but if not, it's perfectly fine because, yeah. Anyway. Derrick Henry right now. Derrick Henry last year. Okay, Derrick Henry last year ranked first in the NFL in carries, rush yards, and touchdowns. This year he ranked first and third. All right, John, you find it, man? If not, don't worry about it.
Not looking good.
All right, well, that's the shit. Well, you guys can take a look at it. But all right, well, John, I guess we'll wrap everything up for this week. It is 10:30. Everyone, make sure you watch the end of that game. And John, anything you'd like to say before we wrap up today?
No, I mean, if you're a football fan, I mean, this last week is, the last week has a lot of meaning. If your team needs to win, it's definitely, even if your team's clinched a playoff spot, like you said, there's some seeding on the line. And even if your team's a non-playoff team, right, it's your last chance to see them for the year. They might start some younger guys to give them a look, and it's a good, that's the one thing as a Steeler fan in the non-playoff years that the last game was always interesting, just to see what some of these young guys, to give you a little hope for next year. It's bad enough you feel bad, but at least there's some silver lining. And so, for example, like the Eagles, like you said, they're eliminated, but you're getting to see what you got in the form of Jalen Hurts, and
they get a chance. And they get a chance to alter the playoffs, which I think people really underestimate how much these guys, when they know they're not going to be able to be playing in a month, but they know they can stop someone else, especially division rivals, from playing in another month they're going to get up for that game. Week 17 is going to be a blast, man. It's going to be a ton of fun.
Yeah. So again, it's every game's going to have some sort of significance in some form or factor. Seeding, who gets in, who gets out, and who's my guy for next year, and what's he going to look like. And so very few games will be duds if at all. And so we should have an interesting show definitely next week as we close out the regular season.
Yep. And like I said, guys, be on the lookout, of course, for our we'll do something special for New Year's with our bets. We'll make sure to have out our picks for the week and do something very special for you guys video-wise for the picks. Since the last couple of weeks have been a little hectic with the holidays and we haven't been able to get a video out for you guys, want to get a really awesome one out for you this week. So definitely be paying attention and be on the lookout for that. And, of course, check out the podcast on all the major platforms. It will be up later this evening. But, John, thanks so much for running the boards, man, while I'm down here in Florida. And next week I'll be up there freezing my ass off instead of being nice and comfortable. But,
Well, it ain't going to be any colder than what it is in Syracuse, so I'll trade you Carolina cold for New York cold any day.
I hear you there.
So, all right, folks.
We appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we will see you guys next week.
Take care.
Dropping the passer call. Dropping the passer call.